Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're looking at a bit of an older product that I've not seen many reviews of and much discussion around, and that is Touch by Paul Curry and Penguin Magic, a really cool open prediction effect that I think ticks some boxes but also misses on some other boxes. And I really wanted to make a review about this because I do think it kind of went under the radar and it really is a good little trick that maybe you could consider. So let's learn more about it right after the intro. Perfect. So you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Touch. Now, what is Touch? Touch is an open prediction effect where you write a prediction on a joker, you place it to the side, and no matter what card your spectator selects or names freely is going to be the card that you had predicted on the joker. So what better way for me to explain it than to actually perform it to you? So you would take out the deck from the box and you tell the spectator that in a moment they're going to choose a card, but before they do that, you're going to actually write a prediction. So you're going to take out one card from the deck. Right here, you're going to take out this one. Okay, so you're going to take out here the joker and you're going to write a prediction on the joker. So don't think of a card yet. Don't think of a card. I'm going to write here my prediction. Okay, so I have here my prediction. I won't show it to you yet. Okay, I won't show it yet. We're just going to place it right there on the side. And now that I've committed myself to one playing card, you're going to name any one of these cards that you want. Any card that you want and that you can see, you're going to name. So which one would you like? Let's say they go for the two of diamonds. I literally random, like it could literally be any card. So this is not, me pre-planning anything or something like that. It could be thoroughly any card named. And let's say in this case, it's the two of diamonds. Fair? And you tell them you could have named any card. Fully free choice. And I wrote something here on the back of this card. From the start, I wrote something here. And what I wrote is that you will go for, and you can see that I wrote that you will go for the two of diamonds. So I wrote that you would go for the two of diamonds from the start. And of course that the card that you went for is the two of diamonds, a perfect match of predictions. And then you could take this, put it back in the deck, and yeah, you're then ready to go. So that is Touch by Paul Curry. So that is what the effect looks like, and that's how the effect performs. And what I've just did right now in 1 second is I've reset the trick for the next table or for the next performance. We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, that is Touch by Paul Curry. So where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can still buy this exclusively, I believe, still even to this day, even years after it came out, exclusively at penguinmagic.com. It's going to set you back $29.99. And what you get is, of course, the typical Penguin Magic box, like the hard shell box. Inside of the box, you get your instructional video, the link to it, which is around 40 minutes long with Nicola Capo. He teaches you everything that you need to know about this. He teaches you how to prepare the deck. It has a one-time setup that's going to take you between 5 to 10 minutes to do because it has to be done well and it has to be done forever because you won't be able to change it. So he goes over how you have to do all of that, and once that setup is done, he teaches you how to do the effect, how to perform it, and how it works, and all the goodies that you need to know. On top of that, you also get your deck, which is a bicycle deck of cards, and this is specially printed for this effect. So you will need a special deck of cards, and that special deck of cards is specially printed for you to be able to perform the effect. And it's done in bicycle stock. It is very well made, and it's a very good quality deck of cards that should last you a great amount of time, depending how much you perform this. So that is what you get. So having talked about that, how easy is this to perform? So as you saw in the performance, there's a few sleight of hand moves in here, but nothing too difficult, right? There's a few DLs and one move that pretty much everyone that watches this, I think, knows, which is the MT. I'll just give the abbreviation of it, the MT. Yeah, so there's just those two moves, because apart from that, there's nothing much for you to do here, right? It's pretty self-working. The deck does most of the job for you. You mostly have to work on the presentation and justification of what you are doing. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but difficulty-wise, except for those two moves, there's nothing really too difficult. The main thing that you're going to have to handle here, and that Nick touches as well, and that I've seen even in some performances, is handle grabbers, because nothing is inspectable here. So nothing is inspectable in this deck whatsoever, right? The only thing that's inspectable in this deck is the first joker that you take out to write on. So that people could see it, and then once you write on it, it is not inspectable anymore. So nothing is inspectable here. So the deck on the table cannot be inspected. The cards that are on the table that you show are not, you cannot like inspect them whatsoever. So nothing is inspectable here. So the difficulty here is, for a beginner, is going to be, you know, to manage his audience so that no one wants to grab anything, because nothing can be grabbed. So the difficulty here is not in the way you perform this and the sleight of hand. It's more in the audience management side, because I've seen performances, I think it may have been even in the tutorial. I don't think it's a performance I saw on YouTube, but I think there's even a performance in the tutorial where one of the spectators is like, oh, but I don't want to tell you my card, or why do I have to tell you my card so you can take it out, or oh, but you show me your joker first, I don't want to tell you my card. So, right, you can encounter things like that in this type of effect. So make sure you manage your audience well, and that, I think, is where the difficulty comes from this. So that is where you're going to have to focus most of your attention when you buy this and you want to perform it, is in your audience management. So having said that, let's talk about practicality. Is this effect practical to perform? So for this effect, you're going to need three things. You're going to need three things. So one, you're going to need your special deck of cards. So you're going to need this deck every single time you want to perform it. You're going to have to carry this around with you, and you're going to have to use this to perform it. You're also going to need a Sharpie that you're going to have to modify. You're going to have to modify a Sharpie, and you're going to have to carry this Sharpie around with you, right? So you're going to have that with you as well. And then you're also going to need, for the best effect, you're going to need a table. So you're going to need a surface where you can spread the cards and where you can place your card and do the moves easily, right? There's way you can do it in the spectator's hands and just spread the cards in your hands and do the move inside of your spectator's hand. If you're bold enough, right, that's kind of going to be the inspectability of it, because the cards have been in the hands of your spectator the entire time. So you can work around with that. But for the best possible effect, and for it to look as good as possibly can be, you're going to need a deck, your special Sharpie, and a mat or a surface where you can spread the cards and do your moves. So practicality wise, you're going to need all of that for it to be the best the effect could possibly be. So having said that, where can you perform this? So this would work very well on a stage or parlor setting. This would work very well in that stages, because you can, in those settings, you control your audience already. So by having the audience to your side, on stage or in parlor, you can control grabbers, because you can put things here so the spectator isn't going to reach over you and risk anything, right? When you do the things, you can do it like this. You can control your environment. So in parlor and stage, this works really, really well. But again, since this is a gimmick deck that's not inspectable and you can't use for any other effect, you will have to switch in this deck. So you'll have to do a deck switch or whatever when you want to perform this in those environments. So if you're someone that likes to only do things with borrowed decks, or with totally normal decks, and you want to include this in your set, then you'll have to do a switch at some point in your routine whenever you want to make this part of your show. If not, if you want to perform table hopping or casually, then you will need a table. So that means that you can perform this at restaurants, strolling, and something like that. But even then, you do need to be able to spread the cards a bit. So you have to be mindful of the surface where you're on. You know, if it's a super crowded table, there's probably other effects you can do that are better than this. So yeah, it can be done in a lot of places. and you can find ways to do this standing up. Of course you can, but for the best possible thing, I think this would excel in parlor stage, where you can control the environment, and this could look really, really well in a parlor stage environment. If not, walk around. If you have, like, for example, you know, in the P3 bar, or I think it's that, I don't think it's their bar, but you know where they film all their performances and they have those really long tables and people are seated and they can just spread the cards and whatnot, then, you know, that's a good setting as well. So you just have to be mindful of the setting you perform with, but you can pretty much get away with this in most scenarios. So, having said all of that, what are the positives and negatives of touch? So, one of the negatives is that nothing is inspectable. So you have to deal with the grabbers because nothing is inspectable. A second negative is that I know for some people, carrying around an extra deck of cards for a simple, just one effect is not something that they really want to do. You know, if they were to carry around just one deck, everyone has their preferences of what that deck would be. And yeah, you'd have to consider that if you only carry around your normal deck and an extra gimmick deck on a night out, you'll have to consider if this one is worth your extra pocket, okay? Or to replace the deck that you already have. So you'll have to consider that as well. And yeah, those are the only negatives that I have with touch. Now, what about the positives? What are the positives of touch? So the positives are that the routine is relatively self-working. It's a really direct and fun routine to perform. Any card can be named. Literally any card can be named except the Joker. The reveal is pretty direct. The visual of you writing on the card, they can hear it and they can see you writing. Having placed that dispels certain things that they may think, which is another great idea by having the prepared Sharpie. And it's also a very interesting piece of magic because of how direct it is. So it has a lot of good going for it. So having said all of that, would I recommend Paul Curry's touch? If you liked what you saw, then yes, you are going to enjoy performing this effect. I do know that predictions by Roddy McGee is coming out, which is going to be extremely similar to this. But if you don't like the more childish presentation of Roddy's trick and you really like that one, then this is the alternative for you. You can definitely go and buy this. Now, to be honest, this is an effect that I have owned for around 2 years. And to be honest with you, I haven't performed it that much. You know, I've decided to carry around other decks that do similar things, or just have the usual invisible deck with me that kind of gives the same effect, or have a brainwave or anything like that. There's some really good ones that are coming out. So I haven't really taken this out with me at gigs or have performed this as much as I thought I would have. So I have to be honest regarding that, you know. That's some of the positives that watching these older products that I've bought, then the reviews for them, is because you actually get to learn if this is something that I've used or something that I really, really liked and just found out in my drawers and I wanted to make a review of it, but I haven't been using much since. Because that could really help you when making a review, knowing if this is something that I've bought 2 years ago and I've not really used much, you know, gives you an idea of maybe what you will do with it. So, yeah, nonetheless, I haven't used it that much, but it is a good effect. It is well done, it is well built, and it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it well. So what would I rate it out of 10? I would rate it a 7.25 because it is something that I have performed and something that I would perform. I wouldn't shy away from performing this at any point, but there are better tricks that I've purchased since this one that have replaced it in my walk around set and in my parlor set. So keep that in mind because so 7.25 because it's not something that I see myself, even after making this review, go out and perform at non-stop at any other gigs. So keep that in mind. It's a good effect, but yeah. So that's all I have to say about Paul Curry's Touch. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you enjoy that even though it's a bit of an older product, you have a fresh perspective on it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see everyone in my next review. Bye-bye, and have a good one.